This is Yair Davidi, speaking to you from Jerusalem, the capital of Israel, speaking to you on behalf of Brit Am Hebrew Nations. Our organisation believes that the lost 10 tribes now are to be found amongst Western peoples. That is what we concentrate upon, and that is what we are dedicated to. This present talk is concerning Barak Obama. The present date is the 30th of October in the year 2012. It is some days before the US presidential elections. Hebrew date is 15th of Heshbon in the year 5773. And we are concerned that Barak Hussein Obama should not be re-elected. Barak Hussein Obama has now been President of the USA for 4 years. He is standing for re-election. We are against his re-election. It would be bad for the USA, bad for Israel, and bad for the world. So anyway, who is Barak Obama and what has he done? So we do not live in America. We can only go according to what we have read, what we have heard in the news programs, what people have told us, and our general impressions. So Obama became president in January 2009. He signed economic stimulus legislation. When he became president, there was already the beginning of an economic crisis. We have to be fair and admit the truth. America was already in trouble, and Obama took measures to stimulate the economy. A lot of money, vast sums of money went to all different groups, different industrial groups and so on. Many of them were those who had contributed towards Obama, who had helped him become president. He himself does not deny it. A lot of these programs were of questionable validity. In other words, much of the money was wasted. He did, however, help stabilize the auto industry. He helped do that. On the other hand, he also helped prevent the development of natural resources of oil in the USA and increase the dependence of the USA on Arab oil. He also increased the national debt. He funded many of his programs, all of his programs, by negative budgeting. In other words, by printing money going into debt, increasing the national debt that was already at catastrophical proportions even before he began. It didn't help, or if it did help, it didn't help enough. At the present, unemployment is worse now than it was at the beginning. Black people especially have been hurt even more than the others, and the black middle class has suffered more than the white middle class, because the black middle class had invested in real estate and other areas that were affected by the economic developments, the negative economic developments. On the other hand, Obama did help black people in some ways. They had been apparently discriminated against in obtaining mortgages from banks and other areas, and in this field he helped them. His administration helped them. On the whole, Obama failed to encourage capitalist initiative. He was not successful. He's not been successful. He initiated Obamacare, some type of medical program that was needed. Everyone seems to be agreed that some type of reform of the general medical insurance for the average, or especially for the low classes, was needed. Something was needed to be done. Obama introduced his program. This program has been heavily criticized as being expensive, inordinately expensive, as being bureaucratic, unfair, even cruel in its administrative requirements, and in many ways unnecessary. It has been said that alternative plans were available and still are available, and that eventually Obamacare will have to be scrapped and something else put in its place, and that other methods and other plans are in existence and they should be adopted. So that is, on the whole, it's not been an overwhelming disaster, but at least not so far. But he has been negative, or he and his administration. He has also decreased the military preparedness of the USA and the military geostrategic position of the USA in international terms. And he has been against the state of Israel, and he has he's been negative. On the whole, he's been negative, and the long-term effects of some of his policies may be, or are liable to be highly detrimental to everyone. So that is why we're speaking. He is a danger. He should be stopped now, whilst he can be stopped before he does even more damage than he has already done. Obama helped homosexuals. He also made abortion easier to obtain than it was. He became the first US president to advocate same-sex marriage between men and men, women and women. In foreign policy, Obama ended US military involvement in Iraq, which was is in effect weakened the USA. Whether or not the USA should have gone into Iraq in the first place, I believe it should, incidentally, is one thing, but the fact is that they'd already gone in, they're already there, and they would have been better off staying there, and the world would have been better off staying there. They would have had control over that area, and they would have weakened adversaries in those regions. Anyway, Iraq caused America to pull out, and thus endangering the Kurds, endangering Israel, endangering the British, endangering other peoples, and increasing the radicalization of the Islamic world. Obama did increase troop levels in Afghanistan, which we had, even from here, we had advised against doing, but he did do it. And now apparently they have not been, at least until now, very successful, as successful as they should have been. And Obama seems to be tending to in the direction of pulling out of Afghanistan and turning the whole country over to the Taliban. So whatever was put into there would have been wasted, or at least to some degree. Obama calls the downfall of Gaddafi in Libya by direct intervention. He also condoned the fall of the regime in Tunisia, and he helped pull down the Mubarak in Egypt here. And in those areas there's either anarchy, Islamic anarchy, with Al-Qaeda in the offering, about to take over, or the Muslim Brotherhood, which is another version of Al-Qaeda. In effect, the Muslim Brotherhood has taken over, or will take over, as it has in Egypt. The Muslim Brotherhood is funded and represents the ideology of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia helped get Obama elected. It has been backing him all the time. It now backs his family in Kenya, or not necessarily his family, the clan in Kenya, the Muslimic-oriented clan of the Luo people in Kenya, who are now about to help take over the country with a radical communist type agenda, and with Saudi money. And Obama has been involved in this. These are what we have said have been can be checked out. The facts can be clarified. Obama does not necessarily deny this, or neither do his supporters. Rather, they justify it in their own way. And this is the situation. Obama also he did order a military operation that resulted in the death of Osama bin Laden, who was the arch enemy of America, and had been responsible for the Twin Towers fiasco. Obama ordered him killed, which was for the good. He should have been killed. It's one thing that he did, but Obama also has been in effect backing on ground zero this direction of a mosque in that area, where they destroyed the two Twin Towers. They want to put a mosque up. They want to build a mosque there, a great big mosque, and Obama is backing that, as if to mark the scene of their victory, as if to say. And Obama has been backing the Islamics throughout the world, and also in the USA. Obama believes in forcing the state of Israel back to its 1967 borders, with some give and take here and there, but on the whole that is his principle that he believes in, or that is the policy that he publicly admits to. In effect, we suspect that Obama would like to see the end of the state of Israel altogether. Obama has prevented the Jews from settling in Judah and Samaria, in the West Bank and in Jerusalem. And on the whole, Obama has given the impression of being basically anti-Israel, though Israel has a lot of friends, and Benjamin Netanyahu has been very clever and very successful in manipulating American public opinion. So Obama is also not stupid. He's also been not going overboard, not showing himself as antagonistic as he really is towards Israel, though he has been showing enough. And also Obama has some very good advisors, very professional advisors, people who know what is going on, know what should be done. They're the best in the world. They get the best pay in the world, and they have had years of training and schooling and studying this, and decades, more than decades. So they have the whole USA experience of studying this subject, so they know what they are doing. That does not mean that they do the right thing, but it means that when they do something, they have a good chance of succeeding at it, even if their intentions are bad. So, at all events, Obama has hurt Israel, has hurt the USA in the long run. He has hurt everyone, and Obama should go. The Bible condemns homosexuality. In Leviticus chapter 18 verse 22 it says, "You shall not lie with mankind, you shall not lie with a man as with womankind. It is an abomination, an abomination." Leviticus 20 verse 13 it says, "If a man also lies with mankind as he lies with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death, their blood shall be upon them." That is how serious the Bible is against. It is against homosexuality. Obama also promotes the killing through abortion of unborn babies and the killing of born babies that are accidentally come out alive when the abortion goes wrong. I'm not joking. This is legalized, and Obama helps legalize it and facilitate it. Black babies are killed more than white ones. He is not a racist in that respect. All of them should go. Obama weakens the economy of the USA. He undermines its ability to defend itself. And he strengthens the enemy. The enemy of President is virulent Islam, as aggressive, assertive Islamic forces, as well as other forces. Russia, China, also back there waiting to take the USA down when they can, as well as other countries. The rest, all of the third world has tendencies in that direction, and Europe. So do elements in Europe. Don't belabor yourself. Don't kid yourself. This is a reality. But this is a reality that was always existed. There's always been this way, and despite enemies and the evil designs of foreign heathen peoples, the USA and other Israelite nations have succeeded thanks to the blessing of the Almighty, and also because they have worked for it. They have been fulfilling their role that they had been forecast to do. The Israelite nations, especially the USA and Britain before that, they had the task to receive the blessings, to become great nations and to civilize all of humanity. And to some degree that is what they have been doing and did do and are still doing even now, despite everything. Another task of theirs was to help the Jews settle in the land of Israel, and they have been doing that, and they are still doing that, but now Obama is trying to put a stop to it, or to hold the process up, and he has succeeded to some degree during his administration. And this is against the destiny of the USA. This is what the USA became great in order to do, and when the USA fails to do this, then it is in danger, God forbid, of losing its position. And there's no one there, but there's no one around to replace it. There's no one better than them. So that is another reason why we want them to do well by themselves, because they also do well by us. And that is what the Bible says is needed to be done. They represent the forces of Joseph in our time. Possibly more than half of the, physically, possibly more than half of the 10 tribes are now in the USA. A good proportion of them at least are, and they represent the forces of Joseph, which is the main force, the driving force of the 10 tribes. And they are the ones who receive the blessings, the primary recipients of the blessings, and they are the ones who have the main obligation to fulfill the role that has to be fulfilled. Obama believes his father was a Muslim. He actually, the person whom Obama believes to have been his father was the descendant, was a black man from Kenya, descendant of an Arab slave trader. Incidentally, the Arabs were worse to the blacks than the whites ever were. The Arabs used to bring in thousands and tens of thousands of black slaves into Arabia, but any child was born black or did not survive. You can check it out. Whereas those in the USA, despite everything that happened to them, they increased and multiplied. This is another thing to think for history, but this is just an historical point that we should talk about, or others should need to talk about and consider at another time. And Obama, his father was a member of a tribal group which is trying to increase its influence and its power in Kenya. It's now being backed by Saudi Arabia, receiving funds and advisors from Saudi Arabia, and Obama is also involved in this. Obama projects himself as a Muslim to Muslims. He says to Muslims that he is a Muslim, and he gives speeches that are pro-Muslim, and from that you could infer that he is on the Muslim side. He's on the side of Islam. And his policies show that he's not only on the side of Islam in general, but on the side of radical Islam. In his relations with non-Muslims, Obama presents himself as a liberal-minded, pro-homosexual, pro-abortion activist of leftist leanings and Christian background. For more than 15 years, 17 years, he was a member of the Church of Jeremy White. This person has a black church, but he talks a bit against the white people. He talks against Jews. He talks in favour of homos and of third world countries and third world thinking. And he is a nasty person, a nasty, evil person. He's an anti-American, and Obama was part of his trend of thought. Obama considered this person to be his mentor, and even named one of his books that he wrote after a sermon written by him. Obama lies. He tells lies all the time. He tells lies that can be caught out at once. I mentioned this to a friend of mine, actually a member of my family, and this person said that, so what, every politician says mistruths. Well, this might be true. Politicians in the heat of the moment, or as part of their general way of conduct may be guilty quite often of inaccuracies. Obama is, however, guilty of saying things that he knows are not so, and that will be revealed as not being so, but he says them for the sake of asserting his dominance. In other words, it is not something that he will be ashamed of. It's part of his personality. He is a method with him. It's not just occasional slip-up. Obama says things and he must know that are not true. We found out almost straight away, and by those who know the truth will already be seen to not be true. Obama is amoral. It's not only him, it's also those around him. He is not only who he is not the one person driving his own wagon or pushing his own chariot or whatever you want to call it. Obama has managed to inspire and to make himself the leader of a whole gang of similar-minded people, of left-wing intellectuals, and the people who are basically anti-American, even though they're born in the USA, and people who are against the West, who are against civilization, who are against morality and against the Bible. Is gathered together a whole bunch of Arab lovers and homos, and of defeatists and quislings. They want to legitimate Islam to advance agendas of their own, leading to the destruction of American, the destruction of society. And what kind of future do you expect a homosexual to want for? The Islam, which Obama backs and encourages, says that the Jews in the land of Israel have no right to live independently, and at the very most, they should be in a position of diminutude, of subservience, abject subservience. That is the best they can hope for. And today, in the modern, sophisticated, refined versions of Islam as it is now being presented, they say more than that. They say that the Jews in Israel deserve to be wiped out, exterminated. That is what they're saying. This is what they're preaching from the pulpits. Not we're talking about people who are major figures in the Islamic world that have been saying this. The Muslim state of Iran is given itself the task of developing nuclear weapons, and they have threatened to exterminate the state of Israel. They're worse than Nazis in some ways, because the Nazis, when they conquered an area in the Second World War, so you often had sometimes they would kill people straight away, but often you had a few hours, a few days, weeks, months, longer, until the Nazis got themselves organised, until they settled in, and still they set up their apparatus before they started exterminating everyone, and they did it in stages. First some, then some more. And under the Arabs, the impression is that this may not be the case, may not even have the time. As soon as if and when the Arabs ever take over, God forbid, they are liable to set to work straight away with whatever they have, with knives, daggers, guns, and to take delight in what they will do. God forbid, this is what they do, this is what they are accustomed to do, this part of their culture. And Obama is helping the Arabs in their efforts to establish themselves, to strengthen themselves, and in their increasing urges and propaganda that is directed toward the hopeful, in their eyes, destruction of the state of Israel. And also they want to intimidate the West in general and to emasculate the USA. Obama is a homo, and he wants to take away the manhood of America in general. Obama says we should tolerate Islam. Well, Islam tolerates nobody. The Muslims really are up to something bad. They themselves say it. They are proud of it. Those who defend Islam have people around to say, no, you're exaggerating. Islam isn't like that. It's a nice side to Islam. Islam can be tolerant. Islam can be gentle. Islam can be civilized and cultured. Real Islam is not how you present it, but the people who say this are not usually Muslims. The Muslims are not saying this. It is the do-gooders, the Western intellectuals who are apologizing, who are presenting this nice, other, civilized facet of Islam. The Muslims themselves are saying this is correct, this is what we are, this is what we believe in, and this is what we will do when and if we ever get the chance to do it. This is in our books, and this is what our books say, and this is what we should do. This is what the Prophet and his followers told us to say, and that they believe this Prophet of theirs and their followers were inspired by God. So the people say the way you talk about Islam, it reminds us of how people used to talk about Jews, but there's a difference. There's a difference between Islamophobia, that is fear or hatred of Islam, and anti-Semitism, meaning anti-Jewishness. Meaning anti-Semitism is Judeophobia, fear or hatred of the Jews. And there's a difference between this and between Islam. Anti-Semitism is Judeophobia, hatred of the Jews, is rationalized by those who believe in it or have beliefs of that nature. It is rationalized by claims that the Jews act in certain ways, the Jews have certain beliefs, and the Jews have certain goals, and the Jews themselves deny it. The Jews themselves deny that this is true. This is not so. It is, you are either inventing things, or you are misinterpreting sources, or you are deliberately misquoting sources, and also we have not done this, we have not done the things we are being accused of saying. So therefore it all boils down to, who do you believe, the detractors of the Jews or the Jews? And so it can be checked up, one believe this or not, check up what do the facts say, what is the reality, and come to a rational conclusion. It is rational. It is rational in the sense that the truth or the untruth of the claims against the Jews may be intellectually verified, it may be put to an intellectual test. And when it is done, inevitably, invariably, it will be shown that the Jews are in the right, and those who are against them are in the wrong. But then those who are in the wrong will immediately find some other reason, some other invented reason to hate the Jews. So this is the irrational aspect of their character. This shows the irrationality of Jew hatred. It is not logical. It springs from an instinct of animals, or wild animals, against people who are better than them. And the Jews are much better than the people who hate them. And what is Islamophobia? Islamophobia is hatred and fear of Islam. It is rationalized by claims that Muslims act in certain ways, have certain beliefs, and aim at specific goals. That is similar to anti-Semitism. We say that Muslims act in certain ways, they have certain beliefs, and they aim at certain things. But unlike the Jews, the Muslims do not deny it. They say this is true, your description is correct, and even more than you would imagine or more than you care to say is true. It goes even further than you would even dream to write down. Our sickness is even more extreme than you believe. But it is justified by the prophets, and the prophet was justified by God. So therefore we have a choice. You either believe the Muslims are inspired by God, have a direction from God, or you believe not. And if you believe not, then you come up to the reality that the Muslims want to kill you or enslave you and your children and your family, or they want to make you Muslims like themselves. And these are the choices you have. And if you are afraid of that, if you do not want that, therefore you have a rational reason to fear and hate them. And this is why Islamophobia is rational, and this is why we are against Islam, and we are against Obama because he is promoting Islam, and because Obama is a danger to the West, he's a danger to the Jewish people, is a danger to every normal person. He's on the side of bad against the good, and therefore he should be stopped whilst there is time to stop him. Thank you very much. This is Yair Davidi speaking to you from Jerusalem, the capital of Israel.